The icy planet stretched endlessly under a pale sun, a frozen desert of white and blue, where jagged cliffs jutted from the ground and wind tore across the barren landscape with a sharp, bitter bite. It was silent except for the sound of ice cracking and snow whispering across the frozen surface. No human had set foot here for decades, and for centuries no one had come close. Hidden among the cliffs, partially buried beneath snowdrifts and rock, was a structure that had long been abandoned, an alien research facility, left behind after a war no human had ever witnessed. Inside that cold, metal shell something remarkable slept. A small alien child encased in crystal-like ice remained perfectly preserved. Her skin glimmered faintly through the frost, her body suspended as if in time. She was small, fragile in appearance, yet her presence radiated intelligence, a quiet energy that even the universe seemed to recognize. For centuries she had been alone, forgotten yet alive, waiting for someone to find her. Far away in Earth's Interstellar Command Center, agents of the ISI Interstellar Security Initiative received an unusual report. Sensors had detected strange energy readings from the outer rim of explored space, readings unlike anything previously encountered. The readings originated from the icy planet. Among the team was Agent Zaid, a man known for his courage and tactical intelligence, and Agent Amina, a scientist whose skills in xenobiology and alien linguistics were unmatched. The two were chosen to lead the mission. The report mentioned life forms preserved in alien technology. That had been enough to send the ISI agents into orbit above the planet. The landing was treacherous. Their shuttle skimmed across blinding snowstorms and strong, freezing winds. The icy plains below reflected the weak sunlight in a blinding glare. Zaid guided the craft with steady hands while Amina adjusted sensors, scanning for the exact location of the life signal. Finally, the shuttle touched down on solid ice near the entrance to the facility. The doors were partially frozen, layers of ice clinging to the metallic surface as if guarding the secrets inside. They stepped out, their boots crunching against the frozen ground, breaths visible in the air. They were alone, but Zaid knew better. Nothing this valuable stayed unguarded. Somewhere nearby there might be others, mercenaries, rival agencies, or scavengers, who had also sensed the energy signals. Inside, the facility was dark and cold. The corridors were lined with alien technology, now frozen in time. Displays flickered faintly, powered by residual energy, while long-abandoned laboratories held equipment that humans had never seen. The air smelled of metal and frost, mixed with the faint scent of alien compounds. Zaid moved with caution, his gun ready, while Amina followed, her eyes scanning the environment with awe. They finally reached a large chamber deep inside. It was here that the sensors had detected life. In the center of the room, suspended within a crystalline structure, was the alien child. The ice around her was not ordinary. It glowed faintly with blue light, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Amina knelt closer, studying the formation. "This is advanced cryogenic preservation," she whispered. "She's alive, but frozen for centuries." Her voice was quiet, almost reverent. Zaid remained on guard, scanning the chamber for any threats. The facility was abandoned, but traps and automated defense systems could still be active. As they carefully began the process of freeing her, Zaid noticed subtle movements within the ice. The child stirred slightly, her small hands pressing against the crystalline surface. Her eyes, closed for what seemed like an eternity, twitched under the frost. Amina's hands moved quickly, analyzing the ice, adjusting energy beams to slowly melt it without harming the child. The ice cracked and shimmered, splinters falling to the floor, and slowly the child's face became visible. Her skin had a soft glow and her eyes opened, large and expressive, shimmering like twin stars. She blinked at the agents, confusion and fear in her gaze, as if waking from a dream she didn't understand. Zaid and Amina exchanged glances. "She's awake," Amina said softly. "We need to calm her. Don't make sudden movements." Zaid nodded, lowering his gun. The child looked at them, her gaze curious, cautious, yet intelligent. She let out a soft sound, a mix of a chirp and a whisper. Amina leaned closer. "It's okay. We won't hurt you. We're here to help." The child's hands moved instinctively toward her face, then froze, unsure. Slowly, she reached out, her tiny hand trembling, and touched Amina's gloved hand. A connection formed in that instant, fragile but real, bridging the gap between species, centuries, and worlds. But the mission was far from over. From outside, faint signals suggested movement. Mercenaries, drawn by rumors of alien technology, were on the planet. They would not leave without taking what they considered valuable. Zaid motioned to Amina. "We need to move now." Amina carefully lifted the child, cradling her with utmost care. The child leaned against Amina, shivering slightly but surprisingly calm, as if she sensed she was finally safe. As they navigated back through the frozen corridors, the facility seemed alive in subtle ways. Lights flickered, alien machinery hummed faintly, responding perhaps to the child's presence. The path was treacherous. Ice cracked underfoot and old security drones, long dormant, activated sensing movement. Saeed's training allowed him to disable them quickly, but the agents had to move fast. Every step was critical. The child's life, the mission, and their own survival depended on speed and precision. Outside, the winds had worsened. The shuttle awaited, engines humming softly against the roar of the storm. Zaid and Amina sprinted across the icy plains, the child safely in Amina's arms, her small form glowing faintly against the white landscape. The mercenaries were close, their own sensors lighting up against the snow. Zaid fired warning shots, forcing them to retreat temporarily, buying precious minutes. Amina's heart raced, not just from fear but from the awareness that the child was aware of everything. Her gaze followed Zaid and Amina, absorbing their movements, their courage, their determination. Finally, they reached the shuttle. The ramp extended, welcoming them into warmth and safety. Amina gently laid the child inside, securing her in a containment pod designed for alien physiology. The child pressed her tiny hand against the transparent barrier, looking back at the frozen world she had been trapped in for centuries. Zaid exhaled deeply, his eyes scanning the horizon. "We made it. For now," he said, tension still tight in his shoulders. The shuttle lifted off, breaking through the snowstorms and rising toward orbit. Inside, the child's eyes followed every movement, her intelligence apparent even in silence. Amina studied her, noting patterns in her breathing and the faint bioluminescent glow on her skin. "She's extraordinary," Amina whispered. "Not just alive, but aware. She's been waiting for someone to find her." Zaid nodded, silent, his mind racing with the possibilities. What secrets did this child hold? What knowledge, what power could she bring to humanity? As the planet receded into the distance, small and icy against the backdrop of stars, Amina and Zaid realized that their mission had changed. They had not just rescued an alien child. They had opened the door to a new chapter in human history, a chapter where courage, compassion, and ingenuity could bridge the gap between worlds. The child stirred again, reaching toward Amina, a quiet trust forming between them. For the first time in centuries, she was not alone, and for the first time, the universe seemed full of possibilities. The shuttle set course for the ISI research station. The child remained quiet, observing everything, yet a spark of curiosity and hope danced in her eyes. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, but inside, a small, frozen alien child had awakened, and with her, a story was beginning, a story that would challenge humans, test courage, and touch hearts across the galaxy. For Zaid and Amina, the journey had only just begun. The shuttle glided through the cold black of space, leaving the icy planet far behind. Inside, the atmosphere was warm and quiet, a sharp contrast to the frozen storm they had just escaped. The alien child remained in her containment pod, her luminous eyes following every movement of Amina and Zaid. Though small and fragile, she exuded an intelligence and awareness far beyond her size. Amina watched her carefully, fascinated by the way she tilted her head and studied the human technology surrounding her. Zaid broke the silence. "She hasn't made a sound in hours. Is that normal?" Amina shook her head. "It's not that she can't speak. She's observing, learning. Some species communicate in ways we don't immediately recognize. She may be understanding far more than we realize." The child's hands brushed against the walls of the pod, her fingers tracing invisible patterns, and a faint glow pulsed along the markings on her skin. It was as if the technology and the child were beginning to respond to one another. The shuttle's sensors suddenly beeped. Zaid frowned. "Movement outside. Someone is following us." He activated the rear cameras. On the icy planet below, they could see small ships weaving through the storms, moving fast, attempting to catch up. Mercenaries. Zaid's jaw tightened. They didn't give up. They want her. Amina's hand rested on the pod. "We need to protect her." Whatever she is, she's important, not just to us, but for humanity. The shuttle shuddered as the mercenaries fired energy pulses from below. Zaid maneuvered swiftly, dodging the blasts. Sparks flew from the shuttle's outer hull and alarms blared. The child's eyes glowed brighter, and suddenly the pod responded. Doors sealed tighter, energy fields flared, and Zaid's heart skipped a beat. The child's touch or presence was influencing the technology. Amina gasped. She's activating the defenses. Instinctively. The mercenaries' ships were forced back by the energy shields, and Zaid smiled briefly. Humans had trained for battle, but this was something else entirely. Hours passed as the shuttle traveled safely to the ISI research station, orbiting a nearby habitable planet. The station was enormous, a floating city of lights and laboratories designed for alien research and containment. Once inside, the child was carefully moved into a specialized environment where her biology could be studied safely. Sensors recorded her every movement, while Amina observed patterns that hinted at abilities humans could barely understand. The child could interact with technology without touching it, sensing circuits and power flows, and even accelerating some processes with a mere focus of attention. Despite her extraordinary abilities, the child was still vulnerable. She flinched at sudden noises, and her body shook when she experienced strong emotions. Zaid stayed near her pod, quietly watching, ready to act if danger appeared. Slowly, the child began to imitate Amina's gestures, learning simple commands, even smiling faintly when she understood. A bond was forming, fragile yet undeniable. Amina whispered softly to her, "You're safe now. No one can hurt you here." The child's glow dimmed slightly, a sign of relaxation, and she reached her tiny hand toward Amina's. It was a moment of connection, simple yet powerful, showing the potential for trust and understanding across worlds. The tranquility did not last. The mercenaries had regrouped, and their networks extended into human-controlled space. They were relentless, and the ISI station soon received warnings of incoming ships attempting to breach its defenses. Zaid and Amina worked with the station's security teams to prepare. But even with human technology at its peak, they could not match the speed and intuition the child had already displayed. She watched the preparations silently, then extended her hands toward the main control panel. Systems responded instantly, doors locking, shields strengthening, and energy fields realigning. It was as if she could think in patterns faster than any human mind. The first attack came under the cover of the station's shadow. Small fighter crafts darted through space, their weapons firing bursts of energy. The station shuddered under the impact, alarms blaring throughout the corridors. Zaid and Amina guided the human defense teams, while the child's presence subtly influenced the technology, creating unpredictable countermeasures. Fighters miscalculated their approach, energy pulses were absorbed or deflected, and several ships were forced to retreat. For the first time, the agents realized she was not just a child. They had rescued someone who could turn the tide of conflict through intelligence alone. As the battle raged, the child's emotions became evident in her actions. When she sensed fear or aggression, her glow intensified and nearby systems responded. It was not magic. It was advanced understanding of technology combined with her unique biology. Amina took careful notes, marveling at how the child could intuitively manipulate energy fields and communication networks. Zaid, meanwhile, focused on strategy, directing humans to positions where her abilities would be most effective. Together, human courage and alien intelligence worked as one, repelling the attackers with minimal damage to the station. After the skirmish, silence fell over the station. The mercenaries had retreated, at least for now, but the message was clear. The child was valuable, and many would try to take her. The station's commander, a stern but fair man, met with Zaid and Amina. "You've done well," he said. "But this child, she is unlike anything we've ever seen. We must protect her at all costs. She could be the key to understanding alien technology that surpasses anything humanity has ever created." Amina nodded. "We already know that. And she's more than just technology. She's alive, aware, and capable of emotions. We cannot forget that." In the following days, the child began to communicate in her own way. Using gestures, lights on her skin, and subtle sounds, she responded to simple questions. Amina learned to interpret these signs, forming a basic understanding of her thoughts. She could convey gratitude, curiosity, and even humor. One morning, she pointed toward the station's observation window. eyes wide with fascination as a shuttle flew past. It was clear she understood motion, space, and perhaps even the concept of life beyond her previous frozen isolation. Saeed watched the interaction silently, a mix of pride and awe in his expression. Humans had rescued her, but now they had much to learn from her. They began training sessions not as prisoners but as students and companions. The child quickly grasped the structure of the station's systems, guiding humans to improve efficiency and safety. She became a symbol of unity, proof that humans and aliens could work together, blending courage, intelligence, and empathy. One evening, the child approached Zaid and Amina, holding a small device she had activated. Lights flickered and rotated, forming a map of nearby star systems. Amina leaned closer, realizing it displayed not just navigation routes but potential locations of alien civilizations, remnants of the war, and hidden threats. "She's showing us more than we ever imagined," Amina said softly. Zaid placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then it's our responsibility to protect her, and use this knowledge wisely." The child's eyes glowed softly, a silent agreement forming between them, a bond sealed by trust, survival, and understanding. Days turned into weeks. The child thrived under their care, and her abilities became more apparent. She could interface with communications, predict system failures, and even manipulate small energy fields to protect herself and those around her. Saeed and Amina documented everything, knowing that her existence could change humanity's place in the galaxy. The bond between human and alien deepened, rooted in respect and compassion. She laughed softly, a sound like the tinkling of bells. When she saw humans attempting to imitate her gestures, a heartwarming reminder that despite the vast differences between species, connection was possible. The final test came when intelligence reported another approach by the mercenaries. This time with larger ships and more advanced weaponry. The station prepared for battle, but Zaid and Amina knew that the child could make the difference. As the fleet drew near, she focused her energy, manipulating shields and defense systems with precision. The mercenaries were caught off guard, their ships unable to penetrate the defenses. One by one, they retreated, unable to match the combination of human strategy and alien intuition. Victory was achieved not through raw power alone, but through cooperation and trust, the essence of humanity's strength. When the battle ended, the station was quiet once more. The child's glow dimmed, her energy spent but her spirit calm. She looked at Zaid and Amina, eyes reflecting gratitude and understanding. In that moment, it was clear that she was no longer just a rescued alien child. She was a part of their team, a bridge between worlds and a symbol of what humans could achieve when they combined courage, intelligence, and compassion. The agents realized that saving her was only the beginning. Together, they would face the challenges ahead, exploring new civilizations, unraveling mysteries of the galaxy, and proving that humanity's heart and mind could shine even in the darkest corners of space. The alien child reached out her tiny hand once more, this time to touch the console, causing a small pulse of light to spread across the room. It was a simple gesture, yet it carried profound meaning, trust, hope, and the beginning of a new chapter. For Zaid, Amina, and the child, the universe was no longer a place of isolation and fear. It was full of possibilities waiting for humans,